your mind on. Sit with the meditation. High where eagles fly. Leave today untouched in the sky. Stretch out your mind to humanity. How many tomorrows can you see? Good life living, party given. No one wants them, can be driven. Bloodless darkness, like the darkness. Sit with meditation. High where eagles fly. Leave today untouched in the sky. Stretch out your mind to humanity. How many tomorrows can you see? How many tomorrows can you see?
Indeed, how many tomorrows can you see? How many parallel realities can you look into? How many can you deal with, star babies? Hey, this is Rockin' Larry Locken, your host with the most from coast to coast, giving up all the toast, giving you coolness, hotness, and everything you cosmically wantedness. Yeah, I'm coming at you right now, the joint, kind of a little joint channeling I want to do here. This is in association, of course, with the mothership, the Larry Locken 1 channel at Pleiadian Express Productions /YouTube. Second up, we've got the Larry Locken 2 channel at the Pleiadian Light Grid Project /YouTube. And, of course, rounding it out, the Larry Locken 3 channel, also known as the Arcturian Crystalline Grid Project at youtube.com, I suppose. Okay, they all have pages by the same name on Facebook. Okay, so, like I mentioned in my last talk, I have been channeling a new group. I had one interaction with him about 9 years ago. That would be the Arcturian Translucent Color Realms. Okay, well, this is actually going to be my my second ever channeling with them. It's only my second one that I've ever done. It's my first one in 9 years. Okay, the first one was 9 years ago, and at the time when I had heard from them once before their message, I wasn't familiar with what star system they were from. I mean, I was way familiar with Arcturus, but I just didn't know. They didn't specify at the time what dimension they were out of, or you know, what star system they hailed from. But now that we know that, well, this is something I really haven't got into much lately in any of my thoughts or writings or anything. I have heard from a few people talk about this, though. A couple people that I know in particular on Facebook have mentioned this great flash that is supposed to be coming. A lot of people are saying that this is the ascension point. This is where Earth splits, you know, sort of from 3D to 5D. It's also a lot of biblical scholars, from what I understand, are also touting this. And I wondered what I didn't know when I created the page for that Arcturian collective, the Translucent Color Realms. I didn't know what their first channeling was going to be like to me. I had no idea. I thought that it was probably going to be something that strictly dealt with colors, energies. You know, that's kind of what they specialize in, because that's what they are made of. And I spoke about that. If you want to know exactly who they are about or what they are about, you can check out the talk I did last night about them. I'm explaining who they were, the main color scheme, what their energies are like, and, you know, my limited dealings with them so far. Well, turns out their first channeling to me was not necessarily about any kind of a color scheme. It had nothing to do with the energies of a color. I figured that it probably would, but, you know, you never can tell when you're dealing with extraterrestrials and, you know, beings that are operating out of much, much higher dimensions and much less, you know, definitely powerful realities. Some of the things, I'm going to kind of go third party here with some of the notes that I had taken when channeling with them. I have to kind of do that nowadays. I don't, it's harder for my mind to work as quick as it used to. My mind used to be like quicker than the wit of a hair trigger. I'd had the wit of a hair trigger. I mean, I could just flow easily and naturally. And now sometimes my mind just doesn't keep up with, the quickness that they download it in, and I don't feel comfortable doing that. And, because I'll stumble and stagger on a word, and I wouldn't want somebody to get lost in the interpretation without, this way if I explain it to them a little bit about what's going on, they know that, they don't get hung up if some word comes out wrong, or, I lose my train of thought. But okay, so in a nutshell, basically, they were talking to me about this great flash, this taking off point, or this new beginning that a lot of people are talking about. Of course, one thing I did want to touch on is one person had mentioned to me what's going to happen is there'll be this certain number of flashes in the sky. There'll be a couple of flashes, or 3 flashes, a handful of flashes, right? And during those flashes, if your vibration is high enough to make it to the 5th dimension, to that 5th dimensional Earth, then you will take off and you'll be gone to the 5th dimensional Earth. That's what I understand, okay? That's just so far what I understand. And this is what they wanted to tell me. First I was a little kind of like, am I really hearing this? But I really was. I just kind of quieted my mind and I listened, and boy, did I get an earful. Okay. They wanted to, first of all, they wanted me to make sure that when I was talking, when I was providing their message to everybody about this great flash, they wanted me to welcome everybody in, and they wanted to give their love, and that they're honored to be able to come through me as a channel and talk to everybody. Anybody that's open to hearing this or receiving this, they're grateful for it. And yeah, they really are powerful and just very loving and just all-knowing. But what they wanted to share with me was that they understand that a lot of people are talking about this great flash. They're referring to it as a wave of light that's coming to uplift everyone's consciousness, in order for them to receive a new direction, experience some new experiences, and, well, like any kind of a shift for the better, raise their consciousness level. They want you to know, though, that you do have the potential. They think that everyone on this planet has the potential. Everyone here is on their own growth path to at some point making that shift into a higher state of consciousness and into another vibrational plane, for whatever it might be on that particular soul's journey. They wanted to also touch on that they wanted me to kind of offer a little bit of a different perspective, though, on this. As compared to what you might be hearing, like, say, from other sources. They wanted to make sure that you understand that they consider everybody's perspective on this just as valid. They wanted me to reiterate that like a couple times, that everybody's perspective on this matter is equally as valid, and they wanted me to encourage me, actually, personally, wanted to encourage me to keep an open mind with anybody that mentions this subject to me, and be willing to listen and, take it into my heart and process it through my heart drop, through my heart center. And that's what I've been doing. That's kind of how I am anymore. I'm not the opinionated, cocky person I was 10 years ago. So, that's fine. But they also, of course, wanted to validate and to reassure everybody that will ever be within earshots at any now moment, that they are beings of light. They are definitely beings of love. And they wanted to explain, they wanted to reiterate again also, which many, many different collectives have done. They wanted me to reiterate to everybody that you're here. You're here to help raise the consciousness to the highest frequency possible on this plane. They also wanted me to let people know that the higher the ascension of the earth is raised, the further humanity's evolution will go. So basically, the more that beings of light and love can do in their own way to raise to raise the ascension and support the ascension of this earth. Humanity's evolution as a race will continue to just spirochete into the stars. It'll just continue to flow, and when you're even outside of Earth's plane and stuff like that, you'll just continue to climb up that ladder by growing more as a collective and becoming more and more of the collective becomes more and more of that oneness. The consciousness of beings, that's what it's all about, because that's really where they say that this is about. It's about an individual mindset, yet everybody coming towards that one collective, right? Everybody, like the song in the beginning that said, sit with the guru. I love that old song. Yeah, how many tomorrows can you see? Sit with the guru. But G, you are you. You are your own guru. Remember that. You are your own guru. G, you are you. I learned that from a really, really intelligent lady that I used to do shows with, and she's a very successful young lady. Her name is Bridget Rao, Define Essentials. That's her YouTube channel. But yeah, she told me that years and years ago, like 10 years ago. G, you are you, guru. But you are your own guru. You are. But it's always good to have people to, kick things off of, throw things off of, share with, learn from. I know I do. I love it. In fact, I joke with people about this a lot, but if I were wealthy, like in earth terms, I would hire a guru. I would have one, like a living one, kind of a confidant that was a friend of mine that I could bounce ideas off of, just somebody there for a little bit of guidance, not somebody to be my master or any of that. No, rock and lock and don't play that game. No, but I mean, if you're cool with me, hell, I'll listen to you all day long and go along with it. But, don't push your luck, I'll say that. They want you to understand too. They wanted me to read. This is very important here. They want to make sure that you're. How they put it. Some of the things that come to me. They want to make sure that your spark of light, your power, your energy, that it's positioned in the most important spot that you can put it in across the planet. And the reason that people are, a lot of you have probably noticed this, I've talked about this over the years, talked about it with a lot of people in private on here over the years, has star seeds and light workers assigned to this planet, or that chose to come here. It seems like we are all stationed for the most part in different spots, whether it's throughout a, even people that that might live in your own, or people that are in your own nation that you might know on Facebook that are light workers or star seeds, incarnates. It doesn't seem like a lot of us live close by each other. And the ones of us that do have people that are close by, if you're lucky enough to have one or two, you're lucky. You really are lucky. I mean, I'm trying to think myself in real life how many actual starseed light workers I've met that I've known off Facebook or met off of the social media outlets. Really, there's only one that I can think of right off the top of my head, and that's, that's my ex-wife, or, we're still going through divorce, but we still get along good. Sif and I, we met on Facebook. Other than her, she's met a few of these other people too that were friends of ours, but I never have. I just haven't done it. I've got one friend that is what I would consider a starseed in real life, but I grew up with him. There's a couple of guys like that I grew up with, and they're just a little more hardcore than I am. They're probably about 10% less enlightened than I am, but it's pretty damn good, I must say. But they're more hardcore than I am. They wouldn't want to, you wouldn't want to know them probably. Let's see, we're positioned like kind of an anchor of, think about it as a large strand of Christmas lights that are engulfing the planet. The planet is like a Christmas tree per se, and lights are everywhere. You are one of those lights. You're one of those ever-flowing lights, and hopefully we don't have to replace too many of those lights anytime soon or for the next holiday season. Yes, and so, yeah, the Christmas tree thing. You know what? Yeah, I know some people don't celebrate Christmas. I was using an analogy. I feel like I got to say that sometimes, though, because people will be like, oh, you're mentioning a holiday. And it's not that it matters, but I do care about people's sensitivity. And, if somebody doesn't, wants me to say happy holidays to them instead, I will. And in fact, I'd rather do that because it's more inclusive. But I will say the other if it's said first to me. You know, it doesn't matter to me. I don't really get hung up on things like that. But I do get hung up on when somebody's offended by it. It does upset me because you might think they're being a little bit sensitive, but what if that were you? I mean, you know, there are things that bother you probably that those people would laugh at, and it probably is not really any relevance to them or to most people, just like you think that what they're going through or what they have a problem with is not relevant. Well, it's obviously relevant, or they wouldn't say anything, you know, or they wouldn't have a problem with it. Now, are there people that make a big deal out of it? Yes, there are people. Again, everything has an exception. There are people where it's not necessarily that it's offensive to them. It's just they like the idea of being offended. They like making a mountain out of a molehill. And so you have both. Both things are right. But, you know, it's how it is. It's all in. You can usually pick up on which one it is by the way it comes across, by the way they put it to you. You know what I mean? If it's just so ridiculous that they'd be offended by it, then chances are it probably is ridiculous. But, you know, if it's something where, you know, there's a big movement to stop doing it that way, or something, then obviously a lot of people are truly offended by it. And just, you know, it is how it is. And it goes into judgment and ego a little bit about judgment. I always say that when you don't possess much judgment, when you have evolved to a spiritual point where you don't have a lot of judgment, or any, then that's when you can actually judge. What I mean by that is, if you don't, you know, some people will judge other people for something and they'll say, well, I wouldn't have done that. I'd never do that. Well, this is why they did it. It's probably why they did it. Oh, man, I could never do that. Well, nobody nevers or always is. Let me put it that way. So that kind of a mindset can get you trapped into reflect, deflect, and project. You're projecting how you feel onto them. You're deflecting how you feel onto them. You know what I'm saying? And you're reflecting how you feel and trying to have it come out in their words. Right? Now, when you don't have a lot of judgment, though, see what happens is, when you don't have a lot of judgment, and you know that allows you, what that allows you the opportunity to do is, it allows you that at worst case scenario, any situation you're ever in, you know about 75 to 80% of the complete reality of it already. The other 20 to 25, hey, you're just about as good on, because you understand all the innate possibilities that could happen. You understand that it could be this way, it could be that way, it could be a little bit of this way, it could be a little bit of that way, it could be a little bit of that way, a lot of this way. You get the point, right? So you understand you've got 80% of the equation figured out. The other 20% you're just not sure of because you don't know the actual 3D details. But because you're aware that anything within the spectrum could be possible, you're just as good because you've got it all covered in your mind. You know what I mean? So when you hear it one way or the other, you're like, yeah, I figured so. I figured so. You figured not, figured so. You know, you'll know. You just know that kind of thing. And so it allows you to really know it all, because that other 20%, when you understand all the different scenarios are possible, it really doesn't matter. You know, unless it's in a court of law. But I mean, I'm talking in general, right? So anyway, across the planet, we're all like these network of lights. You know, slowly we're starting to come together and shine brighter and brighter. You know, and the more people that awaken, the more strands of these, the more of these lights are built onto the strands, the more strands are built. And, you know, and that's just how it goes. When you carry these, when you embody these lights, and when you carry this light like a badge of honor, it allows you to affect change onto other people. People will see how you're acting, and they will, you know, that term, actions speak louder than words, which I don't really agree with that term, by the way, but we're not going to get into that in this episode. You can help show people how to brighten their lights. You know, you might run into people and they're just kind of a gloomy Gus, or they're having a bad time and their light might be dim, you know, and you can help them. You can help them to help re-energize that light, or to mobilize it, to kick it into gear, maybe for the first time in their incarnation, or the first time in this Earth lifetime. You know, and as that happens, their light will start shining brighter and brighter. That will attract other people in their aura and in their purview, for their lights to come on. So it's really a chain effect. They're not saying anything here new that we don't already know, but it's always good to get a personal reminder sometimes. I appreciate it when I hear from the collectives, and that's what they do, by the way. They raise the vibration of the entire universe, mainly the Milky Way galaxy, though, with their beautiful colors they have infused and passed down through the Lyrans and Vegans and onto the Pleiadians, and on from there to Procyon, and even the Sirians a little bit. Helped raise the vibration of Orion a little bit too, when we know they could have used it and could still use it. And the more personal work that you do on yourself, right? The more personal, deep work that you do on yourself, they want me to reiterate that you're raising your frequency vibration. The more personal work you do, the more you open your heart and utilize that energy. Don't get it caught up into being an emotion. You can let it kind of guide you through some positive emotions, but don't let your heart be completely bogged down by an emotion. Let your heart work its magic. Let your heart be its heart. Rock and lock and rule of thumb. Any major decision you ever have. Three steps. Run it through that heart drop first, that heart center. Run it through there. Really good. Run it back. Run it up to your head one time real quick. Just kind of check it out. See if there's any peripheral problems with it. Then once you're done there, run it right back down to your heart center to figure the rest out. Or to, utilize it and sure it up and go with it. Open to all those, be open to all those possibilities. Make your light shine even brighter, and just continue to grow it. It'd be like, for instance, if you were to see like a network of light all across the planet, like light up, boom, 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 all of a sudden it lights up, and from one grid to the next grid to the next, you'll see it reflect and project brighter and brighter, and the forms of light that you'll be seeing come out of these will be brighter and brighter, and or more colorful, like the color realms would say. And this kind of, sometimes it takes a visual like that, and having a visual like that in your mind to see just how wonderful it can be, just to see how bright your light can become. Every decision you make, every conscious intention, every thought that you give out it can be an emotional trigger to destruction, to staying behind. It can also be an emotional trigger to finding that state of peace, that state of bliss, calmness, getting a complete new perspective, and making sure that you're, helping to ensure that your heart gathers a new perspective. And every time that you come to an understanding and a realization like that, your vibrational frequency is going to go up. The vibration goes up, your frequency goes up. And I love that word frequency. Anybody that knows me knows that's one of my favorite words of all time. It's really not even so much what it means. I love the sound of that word. So, rather than just sit, I think that we're caught, the starseed, light worker, incarnate, new age, spirituality, living, loving, learning, loving light, UFO community church, which is all of us, New Agers, if you want to put any earth spin on it, a spinning name. There was a time where we were caught up in kind of waiting for something to happen, waiting for some big event to come down, to change our life, something that would happen in a moment. Then I think we were at this spot where we figured out that, yes, we might be still waiting for some big event like that to happen, but at the same time, we started to realize that we have to work on ourselves. We have to continue to work on our light, work on our consciousness, work on our vibration, and also work on using that, or letting that be an example to let other people's light come on, and then let their light continuously shine. So we were kind of at that point where we were kind of, half and half, and now I think that it's time that we really strictly, and they want to reiterate this, is that it's time for everybody to concentrate on more what's coming from the inside instead of the outside. Focus on what you can do in your own reality, like say that your own, I was going to say pretend, but that's not the word. Pretend's not the good word for it. You're not waiting for something from the outside like that to happen. Wait for something, don't wait. Make something happen from the inside, okay? Make something happen from the inside. Let your inner light shine on you. And the more and more that you do that without saying anything or being boisterous, just letting the actions that work on the work that you're doing on yourself, let that shine brighter and brighter. Let other people pick up on that. And so their lights can start to come on, so they can figure it out, so they can pass it forward, right? And that's how we all come back to source together. It's like that. It's I've never really been one to say the popular thing, unfortunately for me. And I've never really been one to buy into this outside influence stuff happening. Now, what I do buy into, though, is some of that outside stuff happening can happen, but it's usually by us letting our lights shine and us becoming more in tune with each other, more in tune with ourselves, which allows us to be more in tune with each other, right? And so we're changing our history, we're changing our past by changing the way our history is going to go down, if that makes sense, okay? So we are changing the overall frequency vibration of even our past, right? We are healing our past, even though we're working on ourselves in the now and we're looking towards the future. We are healing our past so our future can be healed, and so the healing process can really be kicked into gear during these now moments, during these immediate now moments. But as far as waiting for something outside of you to happen, that's fine. Everybody's got to have a little bit of faith and hope, I suppose, but it's really about what you're doing inside that's going to change. That's what's really going to make that happen in the future, is by you changing what's going on now, and doing the right thing in each now moment. Because if you do the absolute right thing in each now moment, well, guess what? Each of those future now moments, they're going to take care of themselves. And so on and so forth, okay? You have tremendous power within you. You really don't need anything else. The else and the outside stuff is really just good for a reference point. It's a wonderful reference point, especially if you've really done your work within, if you've really completely went deeply within, and I don't mean just once, I mean time and time and time and time again, and then again and again and again, and then started all over again clean, right? That's really where you need to be, and just be aware of the other. Just awareness. Awareness is power. Awareness is so much power. Knowing it and understanding that something exists, I'll tell you, you could have a situation, an issue, where nobody did anything physically about it. Nobody was willing to lift an actual physical finger or muscle to do anything about it, and it was a problem, right? The more and more people, though, just by being aware of it and having empathy for it, not a sympathy, oh, no, look at that problem, oh, what are we going to do, losing your head about it, no. Just being aware of it, not focusing all your energy on it either, just being aware that it's there. The more and more people that are aware something is there, and they're aware about it, they're aware about it in a healthy way, it speaks volumes, and it could raise the planet's vibration volumes just by people knowing it, not dwelling on what they need to do about it or what they're going to do about it, Embody that, though. I've talked about that spark of light. Embody being that spark of light. Embody it. You're doing it now. You really are. You're raising your vibration level. You're raising your consciousness, and And I'm glad to know you. I really am. And so are the Arcturian translucent color realms. Yeah, say that fast 5 times. They could not be more proud of humanity. They really are. And, it's truly, Arcturians, they dealt with Pleiadians and Lyrans and Vegans the same kind of way that the Pleiadians are dealing with a lot of Earth humans right now. So they've had their run too, and they're more of a grandfather over self race. They're a grandparent over self race. You think about it like this. Imagine having a Pleiadian higher self. You're a human on Earth. Imagine having a Pleiadian human higher self. And then think about it like this. Then above that, you have an Arcturian over self, okay? So the Arcturians really, the people that contact them on Earth, that not like me that do both, that do a little bit of all, but the ones that are strictly Arcturian contactees, or their guides are Arcturian, those are folks that are right, they're right on, or they're a hair below that angel, that perfect angelic status. They're right there. The ones that channel them all the time, the ones that are consciously 24/7 with the Arcturians in their head, these people are something else. I know several of them. They're wonderful people. I mean, they're very humorous and down to earth, and yet you might not even know it unless you really know them, because the way they come across can be like that they're strictly business, and it's not the case. It's just that that's how they are. I mean, they're not going to get too overly excited about anything at this point. They've been there, done that. And it's not an arrogant thing. It's just that they're full of that feeling, and they don't feel the need to, spaz out on air like yours truly does at times. Yeah. People have been taught too. People have been taught also to look outside of themselves for things. They have been told and taught to just ignore everything that's going on from within and look at this, look at that, look at the man behind the curtain, look at that guy over there, look at this girl over there. Anything and everything, deflect, reflect, and project. And just, just kind of look away, nothing to be seen nothing to be seen in here, but I'm going to look all the way around the spectrum for the problem, when, they don't really need to look too far to find the issue. The question to everyone's answer really does usually come from within. It really, really does. People for a long time on this planet, and still do, they have been forevermore just looking to the sky, even to pray to gods, pray to star beings, pray to whoever's out there. Instead of going from within, they're praying, they're wanting somebody else to help, another, and that can't be, when you think about it, that can't be healthy. What would be the point of even being alive then? If you really want to think about that, what would be the point of even having an incarnation, having a soul? What would be the point of that if that's what you wanted to do, or we're supposed to do, is just look for somebody to come and save you and come save the day? That doesn't, it doesn't work that way. It's not like a movie. It's not like where somebody comes and saves the day. There are little times here and there where there comes a great person along that helps advance humanity, but it doesn't work that way to where, they save the day, because the day doesn't end in a movie where people ride off or fly off in the, in their Merkaba to the sunset. They're off in the sunset. It doesn't work that way, because the great thing about it is once you have a problem solved, or you've taken care of a chapter in your life, right? Then guess what? On Monday, so to speak, the next one's going to start. And that's just how, it's how it rolls. It's going to be the next one. It's like that with a soap opera, as you well know, if you watch a soap opera. Yes, everything comes to a head at Friday in the afternoon. Boy, oh boy, wow. So-and-so's going to get married to so-and-so. Somebody's going to cheat on so-and-so. Somebody's going to rip off so-and-so. And everything comes to a head. But then, Monday, okay, everything's cool again. Then a new fight starts. A new rivalry starts. Just kind of how it works, Pro wrestling, same way, especially years ago. They would really know how to work people and keep people distracted and into, fake storylines. And, well, that's what television does. It's what illusion does. Illusion teaches us to pay attention to that kind of thing and forget about your troubles for a while, you know what I mean? Wouldn't you just like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows you're lame. Yeah, that one. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, people. Old TV show reference if you don't get it. And it's funny because whether it was, and of course there's exceptions to this rule too, I'm going to just say, first of all, an exception to this rule would be something like abolishing slavery, something like providing voting rights for women and minorities. Okay, those three things are basically exceptions to what is talked about here, as far as people looking and praying to something outside of them to affect a change. Okay, they wanted a big change, right? But they were looking for it outside of them. And in reality, that change that they were wanting typically was something that was so disconnecting to their ability, to their personal ability to change that, to bring some positive energies on it, to bring a fresh spin on it. It was so foreign to that, so basically, we have been sometimes our own worst enemy in defeating our own purpose. We've been conditioned to look outside of ourselves. We have been so conditioned to look towards a minister, a priest, a rabbi, a spiritual leader, a guru, yes, an advisor. I mean, do I need to go on and on and on? It doesn't matter. A police officer, a judge, whatever. We've been so conditioned to want to look outside of ourselves for this. You know what I mean? And this is something that, and it's funny now. This is the one issue that I did have. Okay, when I hear this from people about this issue here, and I'm open-minded, everybody, but I've heard in my whole life, I've heard ministers say the planet was going to end on a certain date. I've heard certain gurus say it's going to end on a certain date, and dozens of times. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter who's saying or who's feeling it. Anytime somebody comes up with any kind of prediction like this, it's like, okay, it's never came true before. Any of this magnitude never came true before. Okay, that's fine. Still, hey, first time for everything. Right. Thing is, right, it does come true, then, okay, it's cool. Everything's fine. It still doesn't take away from the fact that other time people are wrong about it. So it's healthy to keep a fresh perspective on it, and because we don't know, nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows. You can feel like you do know, but I mean, hey, well, I'm sure a lot of people would say it after it happened too. They knew it was going to happen, and I would even say to people that had told me that it was going to happen, why did we don't need to get into that, but it's just healthy to have that open-mindedness, so no matter what, you can believe and want it's going to happen, but I always wonder why you think it's going to happen. Who told you this? What is their agenda? And on and on and on, right? I don't believe anything till it happens. Not a thing, because this has just been my experience with real, true guides that have never steered me wrong. They don't give absolute predictions. None of them make absolute predictions. They make innate possibilities. They give you innate things that could happen. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, those have happened. Well, I'll say that because they give all kinds of possibilities, but what they will do is to help break it down in my third dimensional way of having to look at it down here, right? Yet still kind of try to look at it from a higher consciousness level, dimensional level, is that I put a percentage on it. Okay, I wonder what percentage. They're giving me these 4 or 5 different scenarios that could happen, play out, but I wonder what considering everything that's going on, considering the ramifications, the situations around each one of those possible outcomes, what are the percentages of this one versus the percentages of that one? And usually I think I get it pretty good in my mind. I mean, of course, I never know, because in my reality, only one of those things comes true. So, there's really not a lot of say. It's one of them things where you just kind of have to go off a feeling, but at the same time, try to get as much information as you can on it before making a decision like that. You can scare a lot of people, actually, and you can stunt a lot of people's growth patterns by explaining something to them or telling them that, telling them whatever, right? Just, you don't want to stunt somebody's growth path, yet you don't want to be afraid to share your wisdom with them either. So you got to be careful, and you got to ask yourself, in that midnight hour when I'm truly alone, what is it? What is my agenda? Why do I feel they need to know this or not know this? Okay. And don't encourage or perpetuate their eagerness, if they're, if that's the case, their eagerness to look outside of themselves. Look within. You're a way, you really are, we are way showers. Spirituality, true, non-religious, open consciousness mind, spirituality. It's your divine right. You're part of that source. You're one of those cells that make up that body that is God. It'd be like if all your cells, all your organs left you. They left your body, every one of them. And they each individually went out and got themselves their own body. And went out and had their own existence as a human body. Forgetting that they were all part of you, which is the God, and they are all God too. That's what it's like. Maybe one day we'll wake up and we'll all be that's who we'll all be, and we'll be the same thing, which we are. Just as part of the learning process. We're split up now. Yeah, this is a common theme that I get too from any kind of extraterrestrials or outer dimensional entities, is that, and I hear this too from other people and their guides and their contacts here and there. We have been conditioned, though, as a race, a species, whatever you want to call us. We really have been conditioned to look towards what we consider our government for leadership. Look at just the quagmire we're in right now, that we've been in for decades upon decades, and it's really all came to a head. The last 9 years or so, it's really came to a head. Just what a failed system it is. But one of the things that it's going to take to repair that is that quit looking from without for the problem. The problem is within us. It's not from without, because we are the government. We are you. Anybody listening to this who's an American citizen over 18, well, even under that you are, but okay, I'll play that game. 18 and over, if you're an American citizen, you hear me say it, you're part of the government. You are. I'm sorry to tell you. I hate to tell you that, but you are. You're part of the government. You are the government. It's about the collective. If the collective truly wanted something to happen, it would not, you couldn't blame the dark ones, the dark forces, the Rothschilds, the Bilderberg Group, the Rockefeller, those are just, those kind of things are just a front job. You are the government. We are the government. It crumbles and it changes from within, not from without. Okay, it's not going to be from something from without that does it. It's going to be something from within. We all have to go within and change it. And our government's no different. Yeah, I hate to say, our government. It's our government. It's not the government. It's our government. It's our government, or whatever country you live in. That's your government. You're it. That's it. And yes, and it's bigger than just, they have so much money and they have all the control and all that. It's like that, but it's not like that. Take it from somebody who's, well, I worked on 9 presidential campaigns. I've known 2 of them now. I wouldn't say I knew them a lot, but I mean, I would probably think that, after, each one of these 2 guys would probably have known my name or known who I was for a couple of years after, having dealt with them for a short amount of time during a couple of presidential campaigns. So, I've been around that game. It's not, none of it's anywhere near as bad as you think it is, but it's a whole hell of a lot worse than you can imagine. So ponder that. It's not just that there's point A and point Z, which is what most people that aren't into politics think. They think there's just a point A. They think there's a point Z. And really, in reality, neither one of those 2 things are even relevant. It's what happens, between the rest of the letters that is relevant. It's A and Z mean nothing. It's so uncommon that either one of those 2 letters would matter at those steps. Think about the alphabet as 26 steps. The first one and last one are what people get hung up on, but in reality, that first one and last one are anticlimactic. And it's true, though, all the governments of this planet, are all linked together. The wealthy people behind them are all linked together. So this New World Order, people getting scared of this, ooh, one world government, ooh. It's like I've been saying, you know, there's only one people that actually know what's going on, because the people that are against the one world government are basically citizens of this planet. They're sheep. They're not very awakened, and if they are, they're not awakened enough. The one world government is who really does not want a one world government. No, hell no, they don't want a one world government. No way. Why don't they? Well, you know, they're kind of strong-arming in their kind of way of doing things, and they're kind of, you know, controlling and being dark, right? Oh, that works on a country, all right, an individual country. Can even work on a continent. Yeah, oh yeah. It doesn't work on an entire planet. Doesn't work. No. No, it doesn't work. Too big of a planet, too many people, too intricate. The last thing they want is people uniting. They like people caught up in nationalism of their country. My country's better than yours, and, you know, those people over there suck, and I'm okay, and, you know, they love people being hung up on that. They don't want borders erased. They don't want everybody getting together. They don't want it to happen. You know, and it should happen. It's long overdue for it to happen. And that's not their fault. That's not the government's fault. That's the people's fault for looking from without. Looking without. Out into what? I mean, what are you looking out into, you know? Yeah, the answers are all within you. It's not a cliche. It's true. You know, I feel sorry for those who think it's just a cliche. Because it's too bad. But everybody's got their own process. They'll get there. They'll get there and, you know, and realize that all these agendas that different people have are linked together. Yet it's not that simple either. There are some people that have agendas of the light that are working in the government. I can think of a certain female, probably the most well-known political female right at this moment in time. You know, like Bashar was talking about her the other night, she's totally of the light. She's totally of the light now. She wasn't always, but she's totally of the light, yeah. Oh, it's true. It's truer than anybody's love for their children that are hearing this. In fact, that isn't even close to how much a part of the light she really is of it. Pretty phenomenal, really. And I saw it before it went down, and it was nothing the person said at all. It was a 10-minute little visual I had on her. Yeah, that's it. No words that were said at all. It was 10 minutes of something that I had never seen in probably, see, 90 times 200 times another 300 times another. And I don't know, 2,000 hours of different political forums and speeches and events that I've seen footage of over the last 60 years. Only time I've ever seen somebody look like this for 10 minutes, and they didn't even say anything. Yeah, it was weird. It was back on July 17th is when I saw this happen. It was something to behold. The other people around this planet that resonate with you and that you resonate with, you're co-creating with them. You have to understand, you're co-creating. You're co-creating, and you can co-create for the good, for the light, for the ascension, for the shift, and work towards that. Or you can co-create, continue to keep co-creating a system that looks without it, you know, from without. And we do that with, it seems like we do that with everything. You know, we even do that with our, here in the United States, a big one is with our medical system. We're always looking for the medical system to solve any problem that we may have. Without even, well, people that are of like-minded, like of you, I, and people within earshot of this, right? They understand, right? We understand that it's not always a great thing to rely on the medical industry to take care of all your issues, and we also understand that there's, you know, there's alternatives, there's holistic medicines, there's other ways of helping to heal yourself. There's, you know, you can use both. You can use some medicinal or you can use organic things for medicinal purposes, plants for medicinal purposes, different kinds of herbs, different sorts of natural remedies, and you can use a lot of that, and and then still use a little bit of Western medicine with it, because they're both, when used right, they're both very effective when used right. When used with an open consciousness and with the right direction and the right attitude, you can get help from all sorts of angles. It doesn't have to be just one way or the other. It doesn't have to be just that, oh, it's just this way or it's just that way. There are plenty of options, and whatever option you pick might not be right for somebody else. All you can do is advise other people as to what you've done or what you might do, not what you would do or what you always for sure would do, or put it that way. It's all how you articulate it. Be there to advise others and help them continuously shine their light, and it'll help your light grow even bigger. Yeah, and we just do that, and we lose track of the sight that we can work on ourselves. We can help ourselves make that shift. We can help ourselves make that ascension. We don't need to be focused on others while we're doing this, because while we're focused on ourselves and doing this for the purest of the light reasons, right? That's what it takes. Others will see that. They'll pick up on that. They'll vicariously they'll engulf that, and they'll slowly start to take that in from you. And the more we can bounce light off of each other, the more light there's going to be. The more we can reflect off of each other, deflect it off of each other. Reflect and deflect in a good way. Do it with the love and the light. The more we do that, the more it just, man, you time something by twice, typically, by doing something like that. But the way we do it with the deflect and reflect, you increase it not only tenfold, but you increase it 20 and 30-fold, at the same interaction. You really have to be in the highest frequency that you possibly can be in the now moment that you're currently in order to most effectively affect a change like that, to affect a better tomorrow, a better now moment. And you don't need to just sit there and recognize the power. When you're recognizing the power you hold, don't just simply say to yourself, oh, I'm just a being of light, I'm a being of love. Think about why it is that you are. Think about all the positive things that you do for yourself and loved ones and others around you. The topic of this great flash, right? Now, again, I've heard just a few people talk about it, and then a video one of the people sent me to watch regarding a lady that's been talking about it. I'm not going to get into who it is, because that's not relevant. I wouldn't want anybody to get hung up on that per se. But, they speak about this flash of light coming to the planet. And see, what you have to what they were wanting, what they were telling me was that the universe will match our thoughts as a collective. When you think higher frequency thoughts, when you work with your emotions to change your perceptions, and also do it through a more holistic and connective way, a more connective way of perceiving, of understanding things. When you do that, you're more connected with the collective. You're more connected with nature. You're less connected and concerned with technology and material items. When that occurs for you, you're definitely moving in the right direction. And most importantly, though, you're empowering yourself. You're empowering your vibration to continue to raise. And the way that the translutional color realms see it is that you are creating the potential to be able to hold more light. the sun, the universe, I know the great central sun of Alcyone, of the Pleiades, it sends light into our planet. And, you know, we absorb that light. That's why I used to sun gaze a lot. I don't do so much anymore. But, you know, it's phenomenal. I know it sounds crazy to a lot of people that don't sun gaze. I've been told I was a nut. No, it's awesome. You know, the things that you can see, it's not even so much visuals, it's like download you're getting. It's the download from pure source light and love. It's amazing watching your body turn, you know, look in the mirror and then after watching your body turn a bright blue indigo, then kind of, you know, morph away and your whole body turns green. I was talking with Lady Yvonne the other day, and she was mentioning that she had done some last summer, and man, her body turned magenta, and I'm like, that was wonderful. Mine's just a green and a blue. That'd be kind of cool to have it go magenta. But, you know, and when you absorb this light that's sent here, it totally nurtures you. It helps you become more connected. It helps feed it. It gets you more connected to it, the light. You know, as far as the collective goes, the translutional color realms go, that light, even though that they're speaking of, and there's 9 of them in this main collective, there's 9 light energies, and I spoke of that. They all have different roles, but there are 9 main colors that can transcend into each other. They can mix and match, do whatever, but there's main 9 colors. 4 primary and 5 non-primary colors that the others, you know, help mingle to build. But besides those 9 colors, there's all sorts of color combinations that can feed off of those and feed from those. So, but they say all this. They wanted me to say all that part to tell you that they still don't see that light as being something outside of you. Any of them, any of the combinations, they think it's completely all within you. It's not it's not something that originates from outside of you. Even it's something that begins from within you. And that does make a lot of sense. Of course it does, or else how would you think about it or know it? How would you know what you were seeing, understand what you were looking at? You wouldn't, you know what I mean? So it does originate from you. Anything you could ever possibly think of has been true or has happened on another reality somewhere in another dimension, another timeline. It just has. You're a part of that light. You know, you are, think about it this way. You're sort of, you're part of that love that governs the stars, that governs the sun, that governs the cosmos. And the more you raise your frequency and become brighter and brighter as a light, you're going to sparkle like the brightest stars in the sky. You know, it's like when you see a meteorite or something like that, or you see something streak across your sky. It looks like a sideways shooting star. You look at how bright it is and how amazing and celestial it is, and when you're really truly full of that, you're just a reflection of what they're doing. You yourself are a reflection of that. You know, you're going to have times come up where you help somebody else. You help them become who they are. Your light, your power, your brightness, it helps them become who they are. And a lot of times it's when we're not even, not that any of us consider that doing that often, or that we're doing that, but it's usually, you know, that happens when you're truly just standing in your own power and you're not really trying to force anything. The only thing you're working hard on is trying to work on yourself, and that's when your light really starts to shine and really feeds into other people. You know, not when you're trying to force it or make it happen. It's just, but then again, the example I just gave, that they just gave, that's just how it works. That's how, you know, that's kind of how energy works. Yeah, when energy is ethical, it's amazing. You know, when energy is practiced with ethics, bias, there's nothing we can't do with it. Nothing we can't do with it. Absolutely not. You know, it can be a very double-edged sword. You know, and sometimes it just takes a kind word, a smile. I've been finding myself doing that a lot lately. Hey, see somebody with a military hat on? You know, they were, on whatever, like, just regular hat you might buy at the store that says they were, whatever war it may be, a war veteran, or what branch they served in, and maybe what years they served. I make sure I thank them for their service. Thank them. You have no idea how much it brightens somebody's day just to hear that. You ever been paid a compliment by a stranger at a store? I have a time or two, and it really is, it's nice. You don't forget it for a while. You really don't, and we live in a society nowadays where it's not hard to find certain people because of the internet. You can always, it's real easy to let your light and your love illuminate onto other people now versus how it was, in yesteryear. It used to be rough. There was only so much you could do. There was only so much. Now our opportunities and our environment, our awareness has been opened up so much that we are those sparks of light. Each one of us are those sparks of light. And we're kind of working on, this is what they're like, you are those sparks of light, and you're working on right now, you're in a phase where you're working on becoming those great flashes. Okay, yeah. I mean, it certainly makes sense, doesn't it? It really does. From so many perspectives, that makes sense. That makes sense right there to me on a 3D level, a 4D level, 5D level, 6D level, all the way up to 13th. And I only use 13 in my talks, especially when I talk about the higher dimensions, like that one I did a couple weeks back about higher dimensional realities. It's a good one I did. That's good. I talk about from the 4th through the 13th dimension. I don't talk about any higher than that, even though there are endless higher dimensions than that even. But I think of it, when I keep it simple when I talk dimensional talk, 4th through the 13th. And so I explained 3 solid things in there. 1, what the environment, like the atmosphere, what that's like in each one of those individual dimensions. 2, what the entities are like that live and reside completely in those dimensions. 3, what the incarnees here are like that are from those particular dimensions. So I went into all 3 of those topics and what each one brings, from the way the density of the air in them to, yeah, everything, sense of humor that beings and entities have from those particular, places. Yeah, that was a good talk. The more and more that you contribute into doing this, the more and more your light matches what you're bringing in. The more it becomes a reflection of what you're bringing in, and the more that you become part of this consciousness raising experiment, the more that you become, you might say, a vital part, which we're all vital parts in it. But the more you contribute to it, the more it grows, the more it builds, and it just continues to just go from there. I mean, we must have 10 million awakened starseeds in this planet. That's what we know of. There could be more. I'm going to take a guess and say there's at least 10 million. At least 10 million. I mean, awakened, conscious of that word starseed, conscious that they are starseed. That's not talking about all the other ones that just don't know it yet, that they're part of that they're part of a special family like that. They just don't know it yet. You're here to be involved. You can stop right now looking for something outside of you that can go be put on the I would say the back burner, but that can go ahead and be tossed down the sink right now. You can forget it. Stop doing that. Stop looking outside of yourself to raise your consciousness. Oh, be aware of what's going on, but don't give it much of a thought. Just know it's there, acknowledge it, and move on. Acknowledge it, say, hey, you're there. Okay, you're there. Okay, see ya. And I wouldn't want to be ya. The Arcturian translucent color realms would also, they want me to make sure that I reiterate to everybody that all their love and their support and their compassion is with them and with the human souls that have them as their direct guides, but also those of you who may have Pleiadians or Sirians or Lyrans or, Procyon or Alpha Centauri, members as your guides. The Arcturians, a lot of the Arcturians were the ones that were their guides. Okay, so they have a vested interest in you, whether they're directly involved with you or not. They have the utmost incentive for making humanity on Earth a success, because they're the birthplace of humanity in our galaxy, in our young galaxy. They're the birthplace of it. So of course they do. They're like a proud grandfather race. They have, they have probably the utmost interest. You might not think so, but they do. They do. Those energies that they put forth, that they give to other star systems to help to give to Earth, that's they're glad to be doing it, and they wouldn't have it any other way. I hope the message hasn't gotten lost into my rambling. It's time that we just really not only step into our light. That time is long since been here, but it's time that we stay in it, right? And hopefully we're working on ourselves and making sure that we're staying in that light. And the more we do that, the more it's just going to radiate and permeate all over the place. And just continue to, be active, and continue to be engaged, and continue to receive all that light, because as a powerful being of light that you are, right? It's important. It's important that you continue to move forward and understand, again, here, what they come with that flash. Nah, you're part of that flash, okay? You're the most important part of it, because without you, there is no flash, okay? Without you doing the work, without you, no matter how you feel about it, no matter what your opinion is on this flash, no matter what you think it's about, there is no flash without you. There isn't. And as we go on and we continue to wind on down this road for absolute truth, okay, as we try to achieve that, it's important that we don't, leave out the point that, or forget that we are the ones activating it. Not because it's something that has been given to you, though, okay? That's not why you're the most important part of it. That's not why. That's not why at all, okay? It is because of the light that is within you, not from outside of you, not from within anybody else that's projecting it onto you. Although that can help if it's for positive reasons and it's out of true light and true love. But it is going to be through your own individual work, your own power, your own mission, your own focus, and your own willingness to be that spark of light. It's going to be from within. Just stop looking for it outside. Yeah, you have to bring to the table what you wish to envision for that next and future now moment. Now, that's what you have to be thinking about. Not future, not past tripping, not even future tripping, but what in that next moment, what in that next now moment are you going to bring? What are you going to be taking to your higher self? Because that future higher self of yours, it should be even a greater and bigger spark of light. And with that, they're going to go ahead and depart. Yeah, this has been Rockin' Larry Locken for the Pleiadian, I was going to say Pleiadian Express Productions, but for the Larry Locken 1 channel at Pleiadian Express Productions /YouTube. That's also an affiliation with the Larry Locken 2 channel at Pleiadian Light Grid Project /YouTube. And of course, last but certainly not least, the Larry Locken 3 channel at the Arcturian Crystalline Grid Project /YouTube. Every single one of those, all three of those, have their own Facebook page. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at the Larry Locken channel. You can find me on Snapchat. You can find me on WhatsApp at Rockin' Larry Locken. You can find me at Instagram and TikTok at Rockin' Larry Locken handle, but my main name on there is the Larry Locken channel. Okay, Skype Larry Locken, you can find me there. You can find me at Larry Locken channel on Pinterest. You can find me at Skype. Yeah, I mentioned Skype as well. You can also find me at Snapchat. Mention Snapchat and Larry Locken, the Larry Locken channel. So basically, either Rockin' Larry Locken or the Larry Locken channel at all of those sites. And if you really want to just break it down and get to the point, I should have just said this. There's one place you go to know it all about me. One place. There is a page on Facebook called Pleiadian Groups and Pages. What you'll find there is you'll find all my YouTube channels, you'll find all my social media platforms, and you'll find, you know, for instance, like all 3 of my YouTube channels, okay? You'll find it all there. Every bit of it. You just got to go there and scroll down, and it'll also show the 30 or 35 groups that I created over the years. The different Starseed Lightworker type groups. Most of them are Pleiadian oriented or Pleiadian specialty. Like, you know, with Reiki, Twin Flames, all sorts of other little topics, astral traveling, and, you know, different subjects, right? Those are all there, as well as I've got, you know, I do have 3 Arcturian groups in that mix, an Andromedan group in that mix, a Procyon group in that mix. Okay, everything but pretty much Alpha Centauri as far as the light goes. And I always wanted to do one on Alpha Centauri, but I never got to. I did talk about them a little bit in my series of shows I did called Our Galactic History. I did 4 volumes. 3 of them I thought I did great at. One of them, the last one I covered, Alpha Centauri. Yeah, I never really had known anybody that was from there, incarnated there. But, of course, since a couple months ago when I did the show, I met 3 people that have ties to it. I should have held out for a little while before I did it, but you can check those out too. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wish everybody a namaste. Much love, much light, much happiness, and we'll get through this. We're all on our own mission working it. You continue to work yourself in, you work yourself completely from within inside. Your true light and love is going to completely radiate from the outside as well. So just keep with it, and with that, I'm going to wish everybody a big, big, giant, cosmic, universal dating game kiss. Mwah. And I'm Rockin' Locken, yours truly, and I'm out.